off. So, hey everyone, for those of you that I don't know or I'm not recognizing right here, I'm Jess Campbell. I'm the founder of Out in the Boons, which is a small shop consultancy that helps nonprofits and nonprofit fundraisers to have the support and education they need to raise more money. I've been a nonprofit fundraiser for 15 plus years at some super big nonprofits like Human Rights Watch in New York, which raises hundreds of millions of dollars a year, to teeny tiny little organizations where I was like literally the first paid employee. So I've done it all. My favorite thing about fundraising is the building phase. So I really love working with smaller side organizations, but I also love everyone. I don't know even why I said that. I've worked with everyone. I am an action taker, and I have been obsessed, as you all know, for anyone that's tuned into any of these previous conversations, with organizations making it work in this nutty time that we're currently in. I am talking to anyone and everyone that will talk with me about how they either have been producing an online event or a campaign in the past and with much success, or how people are pivoting. And so that's why I was wanting to talk with Mackenzie. I was doing a hot seat coaching call on Monday with some folks that got that as a bonus to buying this toolkit that I recently launched. And everyone kept wanting real examples. And luckily, Mackenzie and her organization, the Little Red Dog, which she's going to tell us about in just a second, just did it like 3 days or 2 days before this conversation. And it was so smart, and it was so well produced, and it was so great that I just kept talking about it. And then a question would come up and I wouldn't have the answer. And another question would come up and I wouldn't have that answer. And so I said, I got this. And I know someone who has all the answers, and that's Mackenzie. So with a very short turnaround time, I emailed her some questions, I booked her, I put this out, and here we all are. So without further ado, Mackenzie, Miss Ma'am, will you introduce yourself and then tell us a little bit about the Little Red Dog?
Yes. Okay. So hi, everyone. My name is Mackenzie. My parents actually started the Little Red Dog, which is a 501c3 nonprofit dog rescue in Southern California. They started in 2011. And so I've played many different roles since 2011 as their daughter. And then the past year, I've really took on a more development side role. I think a lot of it has had to do with Jess and me following her for the past 4 years now, almost, and seeing everything she does. And it just kind of came more naturally to me. And so that's kind of been my role for about the past year with the Little Red Dog. I just really like the fundraising side. I really like thinking of creative ways to fundraise and be out of the box, all that stuff. So the Little Red Dog relies mostly, when things are normal, in-person adoption events every other week. So we have them like twice a month. That's where we adopt all of our dogs out at a local PetSmart. They're super successful. It's how we make a lot of donations. And that's so with those being taken away, that was our huge oh no. And then also we had a big golf tournament fundraiser that we rely on raising $30,000 for, that was canceled because of all this. So that was a huge other oh no. So when quarantine got really serious, we panicked, of course, and decided to do virtual adoption events, which is kind of what like kicked all of this off. So that was, I think, almost 7 weeks ago. We did our first virtual adoption event. Our first one was super down and dirty, nothing tech-wise, super fancy. I had my phone on a tripod to do Instagram Live. We had my dad's computer on a garage table doing Facebook Live. Like, it was nothing fancy. We had no idea what we're doing. And it just, everything's built from there. So that the virtual adoption events were really successful for dog adoptions, which was amazing. We were so excited, but we were still like, how are we going to raise $30,000 to take place at the golf tournament? So PJ, my stepmom who founded the rescue, she called me one night and was like, we're going to do a 24-hour telethon. And I was like, no, because the idea sounded fun. My parents make everything fun, but I was just like, how are we going to get, number one, that many viewers? We were having so many viewers on the virtual adoption events, but they were more targeted towards adopting a dog. So I was just worried about how are we going to get people to tune in to watch a telethon. So that was my first, like, I was being a negative Nelly about the telethon at first. And so she kind of planted that seed in all of us. And then we got bigger and bigger with the virtual adoption events. We had our friends Sam and Nicole, who are super into tech. They do all of our videos for us and for our organization. And so they came on and they had most of the equipment, which I'll get into all the
we're gonna get all into that because I know like that is the number one question for folks.
We decided to do a 2-hour telethon, as long as we're short on that.
So just to give people some context, because again, I know some organizations and fundraisers on this call and then others I don't, but give some people some context. Like, you guys are small. Like,
yeah, we're very small. We're volunteer-based.
You do rescue a ton of dogs every year. Super impressive, but you have a very modest budget. You are not like, you know, some of these organizations that have a ton of resources to, number one, produce any type of fundraiser, or a pivot, or you don't have a bunch of paid staff that are like working on this, you know, all the time, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So I just want to bring that context so that if there are some super small nonprofits on this chat, then it's possible, right?
Yeah, it's very possible. Yeah, especially if you look at our first virtual adoption event, that was only it seems like an ages ago, but that was only 7 weeks ago.
Okay. Give some people some more context though, because you have been at this for a while. You guys do have a following. So like, tell us a little bit about your audience, like what your following size roughly on social media, your email list. Give us some context.
So on Facebook, I believe we have about 20,000 followers. Facebook is really our core audience. I wish it was Instagram because that's my jam, but it's just not. And then on Instagram, we have 12,000 followers. And then our email list is about 9,000 to 10,000 subscribers. So we do have a pretty good size for our size of rescue. Yeah.
Do you happen to know what like the average donation size is for your organization? I know it's pretty low.
It's low. If I had to just guess off the top of my head, it's probably between $25 and $50.
Okay, great. So again, just wanting to paint the picture for everyone on this call that like, this is not an organization that has, you know, $1,000 or $5,000 donors dropping from the sky. They're really grassroots, right? And so what I love about this is that you're a grassroots organization, but you actually did a fundraiser that's more high level. I wouldn't call what you guys did grassroots. Okay, cool. So maybe let's now go through the components of what the telethon was. Like, let's talk about the hosts. Let's talk about the different entertainers. Let's talk about, you know, the components that made up this 2-hour experience.
Okay, so yeah, it truly started with what we already had in our sort of inner circle. Obviously, the first person that came to PJ or my dad's mind was Gary Cannon. Gary Cannon is a comedian that we've become really close to. He's adopted from us, fostered, transport, is a huge rescue lover. He's based in LA. He's also a famous comedian. He opens up for Conan every night, that warms up their audience. He MCs our gala every year, well, the past 2 years, the only 2 galas we've had. And so obviously our first instinct was, we'll ask Gary to host it. So that was our first step, was finding the host. You really need someone who can be high energy the whole entire time, anyone. It doesn't have to be a comedian. Anyone I'm sure we all know someone that can fit that role. So yeah, Gary was our first ask. He came on board. We immediately all got on Zoom. And let me just say, we decided this a week before. This was planned in 1 week. So that
Which I'm sure is a lesson learned.
Yes. And I immediately, after my parents called me and said, we're doing this, either you're on board or sucks. I immediately texted Jess. I didn't think I was going to be the one putting on an online fundraiser in like 30 days because we had just done your toolkit. So we immediately asked Gary Cannon. Immediately we hopped on a Zoom call with Gary Cannon and Sam and Nicole from our video team, and started figuring everything out. And we also knew someone had just adopted from us that they were famous opera singers. So that was also what kind of planted the seed, I think, in PJ's head, was we can have these opera singers sing as an act. And then she also, in her real job, had just done a partnership with Brian Boitano. And so she asked the gold medalist figure skater. So she asked him to do something, and then his husband, Frank, sings in Phantom of the Opera on Broadway. So that was, she just was thinking of all these little connections. But at first I was like, okay, so we have 3 opera singers. Now what? So that's really how it started, was like with that little amount of just anyone we had in our little circle that we could think of. That's how it started.
Can I jump in with some specific questions? Because if I'm on the call and I'm like, okay, cool, I might know like 1 or 2, a comedian, a juggler, live entertainer, some live artist, like whatever it is, right? That sparks it. I have so many questions actually. So then did they help reach out to their personal networks to be like, well, I have a friend that might do this. I have a friend, like because at the end of the day, you guys had like 37?
Yes, it was really amazing. So really my first thing, and like my friends and I were all laughing because my first thing was, I had a glass of wine and I said, I'm just gonna DM any celebrity I can think of, like literally anyone that has any relation to dogs. I'm gonna DM anyone I can think of. And if they don't say, like, who cares? If they say no, all I need is 1 to say yes. So we got Colton from The Bachelor, who's a huge dog lover, to say yes. So that was huge. I got a few.
Break it down for people, because people want to know, like, what did you say in these DMs?
Okay, so I had a couple different things. I'll get to so those were like the cold ass. I also had minor connections that I'll get to as well. So for the DMs that I just sent out, I was just like, hey, I told a little bit about who we are, what we're doing, why we're doing it. I kept it really short, which is hard for me, but I kept it really short. And then just said, hey, will you donate a small, either like 30-second video of yourself talking, or will you donate a small, if they were like musicians, I would ask for a acoustic performance. What I'll say too, what really inspired this was the Global Citizen show. I don't know if anyone caught that. That's kind of what I compared it to for these people. And then another thing was, I was in my car listening to the radio. I was listening to a classic rock station, and this new local band came on. I loved their song. They interviewed the band after, and they said, what are you doing during quarantine? They said, oh, we just taught our rescue dog how to skateboard. I immediately hopped on, DM'd them. They had like 30,000 followers. Their name's Violet Saturn. And they got back to me and gave us our finale.
Okay, amazing.
Yeah, so it was just like, I was literally it felt like every minute of the day, if some Britney Spears popped into my head, like I didn't do Britney Spears, but I'm just saying, like, anyone I could think of, I was just shooting them an email or a DM.
Well, so what I love what you did is, like, number 1, I love that you just went balls to the walls and was like, I'm just going to ask.
Yeah.
Number 2, I like that it sounds like you were pretty specific in what you asked. So it was like, for the skateboarding dog, you had a different ask than maybe Colton from The Bachelor versus the opera singer or whatever. So for anyone listening, I think that that's really smart, is to know what you want, because sometimes when you're just like, hey, will you participate? People are like, it's too much energy, or it's too much thinking for me to think about what that would look like, because I don't know what you want. I don't know what your audience wants. But if someone came to me and was like, Jess, can you do a 15-minute presentation on how to pitch a corporate sponsor? I'm like, yeah, no problem. But if you're like, hey, Jess, can you just like teach? I'm like, oh gosh. because then that's this whole back and forth exchange. I'm already tired. It's just too much. So get specific.
Yeah.
Cool.
So that was like the cold ask that I was just gung-ho on getting any possible celebrity I could, because I knew that's what was going to get people to watch.
Yeah.
So then as like, and again, this was only in a week, so things were moving really fast. Like 2 days later, I'm sitting with my roommate and I was like, oh my gosh, like a month before lockdown happened, we were at this bar and we saw this girl that was so good. She was on The Voice. She was just doing like an acoustic performance at this bar, and it was so good. So we asked her. She said yes, because she knew, like, we had gone up and met her, things like that. So it was like people that I even had like a minor connection with, I was asking, and 90% said yes on anyone I had a minor connection with. And those were the ones that were really good to watch.
Nice.
And then, yeah, so another thing we did was we asked, so we're foster-based dog rescue. So we have a foster chat room type thing. We asked all of our fosters, do you have any connections with anyone? And that got like 1 or 2 performances as well. And then
you guys, I love it. You guys just went wide net.
yeah,
Like you just were like, boom.
anyone, yeah.
I love that. Okay, so let's not pretend, let's go through. So people are like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
Then what? Like, what are you providing them? How do they know like anything about Little Red Dog? Like, what are some of the assets you're passing them to coordinate this massive performance?
We also had some influencers that are really close to us on social media that we asked to just make 30-second videos.
Okay.
So for them, I gave them a general script. I said, introduce yourself. Hi, I'm blah, blah, blah. Say your connection, if you have one, to the Little Red Dog, or why you love dog rescue. Share anything that your heart feels passionate about dog rescue, and then end it with, please head to thelittlereddog.org to make your contributions now. Okay. So it just had to, I gave them that little script. It had to end with, please go to our website to make your donations. And we also had all of that on the bottom of the screen, which I'll get to later as well. And then I gave them social media assets throughout the week with some copy for them to be posting on their stories. So that was for like the influencers. And then anyone that gave us a musical performance, I said it can't be longer than 4 minutes. It needs to be simple. Shoot it on your phone. Make sure you do it sideways. That was a big thing. And then again, at the end, tell everyone to go to thelittlereddog.org.
Got it.
That everyone got a general what you need to do, and end with heading to our website to donate. And then everyone throughout the week that was performing was sent things to post on social media.
Okay. I know people are like chomping at the bit to know all the tech, but before we get it to that, I'm just a little curious, like, how did you decide skateboarding dog is going at 6 and then someone else is going at 6:10, and like how did you coordinate that and communicate that?
Yeah, so another thing too was that we made everyone needed to give us our videos the Thursday before, which again was
all pre-recorded.
It was all pre-recorded, yeah. So as some was live, and I'll get to that too, but have as much pre-recorded content as possible.
Okay, got it. And so the actual live components was Gary. And anyone from your team or something.
Yeah, and we actually filmed them that day, so it looked live, but it wasn't live. Truly the only live thing was Gary doing live asking, updating on donations, doing shout outs, and then doing like the flow performance to performance. Okay, so Gary, we'd have like 3 to 4 performances, Gary, 3 to 4 performances, Gary.
Got it. And again, Gary is the host. He's the comedian, so he's being super funny, but he's also kind of ticking things along, right? And reminding people. So, okay, just a couple components for anyone that's thinking about doing this. One thing that I think is super smart is think about it every single performance, so like 37 times, not the organization, like this is the influencer, the performer. They're saying, go to www.thelittlereddog.org and donate. So you have all these other people telling the audience to donate, right?
Yes.
interfused with that, you have, which we're going to get to, a bar on the bottom of the screen that's saying, we'll get to what it says, but donate or text to donate, whatever. And then in addition, you have Gary
Yes.
reminding people. So think of the amount of touch points
Yeah.
you have,
And
right?
a positive from having the performers say go to the Little Red Dog is a lot of them the next day posted their performers. So that next day we still had donations rolling in because performers were still posting their performances or
Okay.
reposting or that kind of thing. So that was a huge benefit to having them physically say it in their performance.
Got
And
it.
then Laura, I see we did have many TLRD videos throughout, and then Steve and PJ, my parents, did have a big speaking point at the end.
Okay.
So we
I have questions about that because, so, well, I guess I want to get into like how many people tuned in, which part was whatever. Did you guys put a schedule out? So, but I want to get to that at the end. Did you put a schedule together? So if people were like, oh, I really want to hear this comedian or I really want to hear this performance. Okay. So is that maybe a lesson learned?
and well, no, well, we did it on purpose, and but it might have backfired a little bit. So we did it on purpose because we wanted people tuned in through the whole thing. And we thought if we gave out a schedule, then people were only going to tune in at certain points and miss like our TLRD talking points or miss like Gary's live parts. So yeah, there's positives and negatives to sending out a schedule. The other thing too is that the schedule wasn't decided until the night at like 10 p.m. the night before,
Right.
during a rehearsal. So I mean, there's pros and cons to sending out a schedule.
Yeah.
Before.
So I'm going to jump in with my advice for people on the call, and then I want to get into all the tech stuff. I've been saying to people just as a user, as someone that's been tuning into a lot of these things, just because I want to like see what I think works better than others. I don't think we can. I don't think we can take what was kind of intended to be an in-person event and it translate exactly like it would online, meaning I don't think it's realistic to expect that someone is going to tune into your event no matter what it is for 2 full hours. That's just a lot of time to like sit in front of a screen. That being said, if there are parts of your performance or your event that you think are really important, so maybe it's the live ask, or maybe it's pulling your raffle items, or maybe it's a message from your CEO, whatever this might be, I would tell people what that time is.
Yeah.
And I would say it 14 times before your event. And I would place one of the more popular event components before and after that. So if you guys are running a little bit early or a little behind, people are tuning in because they're like, oh, I really want to hear that comedian, or I really want to hear that entertainer. So I don't think you have to put an entire schedule together, but I would say that you should not expect everyone to attend your full event. It's not going to happen. And if there is a component though that you really want people to be there for, say what that is. And so then people are like, I'm going to be there at 8:15. That's my advice. I don't know if it's right or wrong advice, but that's my advice.
No, and I agree with that. And for our next thing that we're doing, we are gonna have a something that's also going to encourage viewers to stick through. I mean, yeah, asking people to stay on the full 2 hours is a lot, but yeah, we're gonna try to get more creative with encouraging that for the next one. But I totally agree with what you just said for sure.
I will say, I had a friend that tuned into, I guess, Willie Nelson when all of this started, recruited like 5 or 6 kind of unknown artists. Mm-hmm. Maybe he lives in Nashville, I don't know, to do like 15-minute performances. And she said that she actually did play that for 3 hours, but it was just kind of like nice music in the background. It wasn't her like sitting in, tuning in. So I don't know, maybe if, I guess that's just my point. People might be kind of halfway tuned in, but I don't know that like for 2 hours people are going to be locked in.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. Okay, people are dying. People are dying to know about all this tech because it's 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 new, right? So let's start. What platform did you use to host the live stream?
Okay, so it was mainly YouTube, but it also streamed on Facebook Live.
Okay.
And so I I'm bad at the tech stuff, but I really tried to get it all down for all of you guys.
Yeah.
So again, we were fortunate enough to have some unintentional practice with all this tech stuff during our virtual adoption events, but you don't need all of this to do it. If you can afford it, 1000% do what I'm about to tell you. Okay, so we used Stage 10, which is an online software that you can all get. And the Stage 10, if you just want, that allows you to stream on different platforms. But if you want it just for free, you can just stream on YouTube. So for free, you can just stream on YouTube. For $100 a year, you can stream on multiple platforms.
with
So
with the software?
the Stage 10 software. So we paid the $100 to be able to stream it on YouTube and Facebook at the same time. And then we were renting it, but I believe now we bought it. We were using a switcher. So I don't really know what that is, but I think a lot of people will know what it is. So the switcher is what puts all of our videos through to the YouTube, Facebook, blah, blah, blah. You can also pay more on Stage 10 to have it recorded. We figured out how to record it on the switcher and then post it on YouTube after so people could replay it. You do really need a third-party software to be able to stream. And we really like Stage 10 because it's super user-friendly.
Sorry, did you say how much Stage 10 is?
Stage 10 is free if you just want to go on YouTube or Facebook. You can only stream on one platform for free. For $100 a year, which is a pretty good deal, you can stream on multiple platforms. But we didn't do Instagram because it was harder to do like the commercials and things. You can't really do that on Instagram, I don't think, but you can do it on Facebook and YouTube. So yeah, we highly recommend Stage 10. It allows you to do like everything you see on the news, like have text on the screen, things like that.
Like your bottom bar that said donate throughout that.
Yes. So you can do all of that through Stage 10.
Yep. So sorry, just to back up for people. Okay, so you bought this software that allows you to stream on multiple social platforms, YouTube, Facebook. I'm sure there's other ones out there. You also bought a switcher, which for the folks that don't know, it allows you to basically switch screens. So it allows you to pre-populate with the recorded videos, but then switch to live, which is when their host would come on and be like, da 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 da. It then goes back to like a video that was pre-recorded, and then it switches back to live. It allows you to toggle what the viewer is seeing. So it could be pre-recorded videos, it could be slides, and then it goes live. And so you all rented one, but then you've just
now we're doing it all the time. So we were renting one for the virtual adoption events. And yeah, now we just bought one because now we're in it. So yeah, the Stage 10 and the switcher are like the main components I would recommend. Obviously add-ons. So our video, we were really lucky to have Sam and Nicole, who are just like mega into this stuff. Like Sam's dream is like live streaming. Like that's like his thing. So my recommendation, if you don't have someone like that, find someone that has any interest in tech or live streaming or cameras, and they'll figure it out.
Yeah. I will also say I would not consider myself like super tech savvy, but when push comes to shove, I've had to force myself to figure stuff like this out. And it's not as complicated as this might feel overwhelming. I would suggest practicing. But if someone like me has been able to figure out this, I think that some YouTube videos and stuff for free. But again, like, tell us what is it Samantha? Sorry.
Sam and Nicole. Yeah,
Sam
Sam.
and Nicole, tell us what you said. I know they did it pro bono for you guys, but what would the cost have been?
Someone like their company, and I can tag their company in here too, would charge around 2,000 to 3,000 to do something like this, because a lot of that's going to include the equipment. Like, okay, so they already had wireless mics for everyone to wear that went on. They had the like big mic that they would like
Like a boom mic, yeah.
and then they had the nice digital cameras. And like I said earlier, we used our phones for the first couple weeks, which is totally great. Like, there's nothing wrong with using an iPhone. It looks just as good. The only thing you need to consider is you need to have a portable charger plugged in, because your phone will die fast.
Okay.
So yeah, phone, you can totally do phones on a tripod. So yeah, we had a lot of pluses with them. They also had the green screen. And that's something like that Jess had recommended in her toolkit, was to do the digital step and repeat, which is sort of what we did with the green screen. And again, you can do all of that on stage 10.
Okay, cool. Okay, so this is making a lot more sense. I know there's different people at different stages and has different budget sizes, but if anyone has produced a live event before, you know things cost way, 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 way more than $2,000 or $3,000. So I think that if your budget allows, hiring some sort of tech team to really manage that and take that off of your plate could be super, super, super helpful, especially for your first one. Maybe you don't need it forever, but it's an option. I just want to shout out that if you haven't checked out the chat, our friend Zach here is totally helping. And yes, actually OBS is the switcher that is free. I've used it myself when teaching. So, you know, if I can figure it out, I know you can. But okay, cool. So then talk to us a little bit about how you all process donations. What platforms did you use to actually collect money?
Okay, so we made it kind of complicated just because Giving Tuesday was the Tuesday following, and my parents wanted it to all dump into Giving Tuesday. There was also, if you're not familiar with Kindest, we use Kindest every once in a while for certain campaigns. They're a free fundraising platform. They were doing a 10,000 match to one person. So one person would win the $10,000 match. So obviously we wanted to go for that. And then we had text to donate, which we used Give Lively for. And so the text to donate allowed you to pay on with card and PayPal on your phone, just from texting. And I don't know if anyone else has this issue, but it's huge in the dog rescue world. People complain if we don't have a PayPal option.
I complain.
Yeah.
I complain.
So we made sure we had a PayPal option, which was possible through the text to donate. And we really liked Give Lively. They just took a small percentage. And then, so we used I wrote it down here. On our text to donate, we raised $2,200 that night from texting. And then on Kindest, we raised, just on that night, we raised, I don't know the exact, I guess it was probably around like 7,000 or something, because we did raise 10,000 that night. It was just on different platforms. And then we also did an auction, which I guess I can talk about. Yeah. Yeah, well, the reason we did it was because someone that we're close to, Amy Berkman, does these live speed paintings at our gala. We wanted to help her out during this time. So that was like a great idea, was to have Amy Berkman do a speed painting performance, and then we auctioned off the painting after. So obviously, you know me, I didn't really want to add on another thing. We needed to have the auction for Amy's painting, and then we just tacked on a couple other things onto that, but there was a lot going on. I mean, people did bid on Amy's painting, but the rest of our auction was...
Yeah. Okay. That seems like a lot of components.
It was a lot. And the next thing we'll do, obviously, we won't have to focus on like Giving Tuesday and all that other stuff. It'll just be a one night, just online donations thing.
Okay, cool. Okay, so what I want to ask now is a little bit about some lessons learned. And then I want to recap everything, and then I want to see if people have like any specific questions, or if you do have any specific questions, go ahead and pop them in the chat. I think this has been super helpful. I also want to ask really quick, do you pay for Give Lively upfront, or is it a free platform as well?
No, it's free. They just take a percentage of the donation.
Okay. And Kindness, if you guys don't know about Kindness, they're a donation platform, also free. They work off of a tip system, actually. So they actually allow a lot of organizations to recoup their full donation amount, because like 80% of donors click that box that says that they'll cover the processing fees. And their setup is super easy. So they're a really good option for if you guys have, you know, a pretty simple website, but you want something that looks professional for a donate page. My friend from high school started it. They're not paying me to say any of this, but I've recommended them a lot, a lot. Um, so yeah, so I want to know lessons learned.
Okay, so our I guess our biggest lesson learned, like we did have some small tech issues. To me, they were so minor. To the tech guys, they were not. So we did have, they're just like perfectionists with their live streaming. We did have a few tech issues throughout. But again, they were like, I don't know if the audience would have even noticed them. But the biggest lesson learned with we talked about the next morning was we wished Gary would have been like, stay tuned for this. And that brings me back to like the schedule. Like stay tuned just to keep people on. I think I forgot to say earlier, we had about an average of 70 to 100 viewers online, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you look at how much we raised, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Well, I actually think that's really good. Like if you had 75 or 100 people in a room for a live event.
Yeah, you're right.
That's so, yeah.
So we had that pretty much the whole time. And then I think now after so we posted the telethon on YouTube, and that's at like 700 views now, which is awesome.
So it's available for replay.
Yeah, so we reposted, we put it on for replay, and then we also posted each individual performance on YouTube.
Got it. Okay, other lessons learned. Don't look at those questions. We'll get to them.
Another lesson learned, I'm just looking at like my biggest advice is just like have as much pre-recorded as possible.
Yeah. Well, honestly, I didn't realize that. So as a viewer, I totally thought that everything was live, which is like the point, right?
Yeah.
But and I was just like, how the heck did they coordinate 37 different people to come on at this time? I mean, it was just like a logistical nightmare.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's brilliant to just get all of these things pre-recorded. It also makes the ask to the entertainers super easy, because they can just do it on their own time. I love that you gave a deadline. So that's brilliant.
Another thing too is that a lesson learned would provide one link for people to upload their videos to. I had like 20 people texting me performances and emailing me performances, emailing Sam performances, and I was like, it got very messy. And so for the next time, we're gonna have one link. You send everyone that one link, and they can upload their performances to that link.
Like to a Dropbox or something?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Like that.
Awesome. Okay, so let's go here with some questions. Laura wants to know if you raised any money pre-event. You also might want to remind the folks about your timeline.
Yes. So again, we had a week to do this, and I set up goals. So on Kindness, that's another thing. You can set goals, multiple goals. And so my first goal I set was $690, which is the cost it takes to save one dog. So that was kind of my like pre-ask, like, oh, let's save one dog before the telethon even kicks off. And we reached like 2,000 before the thing even aired, which that doesn't happen to us. That does not happen to TLRD. So that was like awesome. We did raise money pre-event, and I think a lot of that had to do with our communication. So we immediately emailed, we made up our graphic flyer, and immediately emailed that out as an announcement, and then emailed every other day, emailed the morning of, and emailed an hour before.
Okay, cool. Great. I love that breakdown of schedule. So if you guys just, again, I'm going to say it again, emailed to your audience of, I think you said 9,000 email subscribers every other day. Then you sent one that morning and then you sent one an hour before. What did you do on social with communication?
Basically the same thing. I slowly rolled out like who was gonna be there every day,
Hmm.
on stories, and like posted like an old video of Amy Berkman painting, like things like that. Pretty much anything I could think of, I was posting, because again, we only had a week, so I was like hyping it up as much as possible. And TLRD does post often already, so that wasn't like scaring any of our audience because we already do post a lot.
Yeah.
And then another thing which I'll
Which
mention.
I just want to say for anyone out there that's like so afraid of hitting their audience all the time, these people are proof that that's how you grow.
We post a lot. And so then another thing I'll mention too, just because it was inspired by Jess, is that the morning of, and like Nicole, who on a video team, she just always has the best ideas. She was like, "Oh, you should send out a free wallpaper to your subscribers tomorrow morning." And I was like, oh, "Okay, yeah." And then I was like, "Oh my God, I'll make a Spotify playlist with all the performers that are gonna be there." So so the morning of, I sent an email with a free Spotify playlist filled with all the performers that were gonna be there. It was actually like a really cool playlist. A free wallpaper for your phone that had like our dogs available, and it was like super cute. And then I sent out the ingredients list for the cocktail that Brian Boitano was gonna make that night. And that was like one of the first videos we played, is Brian
Nice.
Boitano made like a signature cocktail. So I sent out the ingredients for that signature cocktail so that if anyone was interested, that gave them like 12 hours to have the
Yeah.
ingredients.
That's so fun. I love
That was
that.
super fun, yeah.
I love that you guys got a little creative outside the box, but like tied it all back to the evening. Um, I really love that. That's super, super, super smart.
And
Thumbs
that was all me being mini Jess right there, everyone.
up. I know you reviewed that toolkit enough times to know. Okay, next question here is what platform did you guys use for the auction?
We use Bidding Owl just because we didn't have time. It's quick, it's cheaper. I know that like we use GiveSmart for our bigger events. GiveSmart is more expensive, and that has a lot of pros for like in-person events. Bidding Owl we don't love like on the user-friendly side, but again, we were just like, what's the quickest and cheapest thing we can get up, because we really thought we were only gonna have Amy's painting up there on the auction. So we were just going for simple and quick. So
Got
yeah,
it.
we used
Bidding Owl.
Bidding Owl. Yeah.
Okay, I haven't heard of that one.
Yeah, it's like nothing exciting, but it's simple and gets the job done and takes not that much money.
Okay, cool. Next question here. Oh, Jen, she just wants to give you guys a huge shout out. And she tuned in,
So
so that's great. And then Give Lively is totally free. The only charges are from PayPal and other payment processors. I think you are right. Yes, for everyone wondering, the event was originally thought it was going to be 24. They shrinked it down to 22, and it seems like everyone was super pleased with that decision. So, food for thought. I have a question. Did you guys did this on a Saturday night, right?
yes.
How did you think that that worked? Are you thinking about doing it again on a Saturday night or switching it up?
Yeah, no, I think we'll do it again on a Saturday night. I mean, part of it while we're trying to do this also quick is while everyone's still at home.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I mean, we honestly haven't even really talked about I guess we're just so used to doing our virtual events on Saturdays, and those have been so well that we're like, yeah, we'll do the telethon on Saturday. It seemed great. It seemed no one had an issue about timing, like, and again,
Yeah,
like no one's doing anything on,
seriously.
yeah. So yeah, I also know another group that did like a kind of similar thing. They're not a nonprofit, they're just a like clothing company. They did something on a Thursday night,
Mm-hmm.
and that did really well. So the Saturday night seemed perfect.
Okay, cool.
So, and we did 5 to 7 p.m.
Okay. Most of your supporters are pretty local, right? I mean,
Yeah, LA and Orange County. I did look at all our analytics on Facebook and Instagram. Where we don't have enough yet for YouTube, but and the most common time for Saturday was 5 to 7, because we were like, maybe 6 to 8, but we stepped to 5 to 7.
Okay.
And another quick lesson learned that I forgot about was we actually got too much content
Mm,
that went over the 2 hours. So we thought it would be a cool idea to do like a pre-show because we figured people were going to be logging on, which we did. But our lesson learned on this was we wish we would have had like a going live in
like
15
the Oscars or
minutes.
something.
Yeah, because I think some people were a little confused, like, wait, is this it? And that wasn't it. It hit off with Gary's intro. We had a really funny skit that we filmed,
Got it.
and that's what kicked off the telethon.
Okay, cool. Okay, any other last questions for anyone? Hit them in the chat box or feel free to unmute yourself.
Yes.
Kenzie is here to answer your questions.
Um,
Let's just give a breakdown about how much you all raised. I mean, just in case
but
people.
yeah, we did raise 15,000, which was our goal.
Oh
Um,
wow, yay.
yeah, so our goal that night was 10,000, and then by Giving Tuesday, we wanted to raise the 15 because that would be enough to keep us going with the amount of dogs we're planning to save during this time.
Got it. Okay, cool. I know something I wanted to talk about. I know Laura asked about pre-raised money. I know you guys are working on a really short timeline, but in theory, you guys could have reached out to sponsors to had presented by and really featured them and given them a lot of love. Is that?
Yeah, I forgot to talk about that. I did use basically what you said in your toolkit. I like literally minutes after getting off the phone call, I was like, holy moly, I need to get someone to sponsor this because we're gonna need people. I was only thinking about the step and repeat. I'm like, we're gonna need brands on that step and repeat behind Gary. So yeah, I immediately whipped up a super quick like sponsorship package and what we would offer them, and it was pretty similar to what you have in the toolkit. And I sent it out to like literally anyone I could think of that's helped us with past events and is dog related. And it was hard because I know a lot of those companies are hurting right now. So I tried to be mindful that I didn't ask anyone that was like a smaller business or anything. And then, yeah, we did get a few companies. No one did like a big sponsorship, but we did have quite a few companies say that they'll send, like, for example, Max and Neo, they're going to send collars to the first like 10 people that donate $50. So that was another thing that we used like physical things for. We're like the next 5 people that donate $250 are going to get a signed cookbook by Brian Boitano.
Oh, so fun. So you had like moments throughout to kind of
Gary did too. Yeah. And like it was like we tried to make it like cute and like as detailed as possible. So while Gary was talking about this, he was holding Brian's cocktail in his hand. So like things like that. So yeah, so throughout the thing, throughout the show, we had things like that. Like for the next 10 people that donate $100, you're gonna get whatever was donated to us in the mail.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that. And I wouldn't have necessarily thought about that. So that was super smart. And I think that you can get creative in a lot of different things. And people want their products in the physical hands of people. So I think that that's an easy ask to make. Yeah. Jen here's asking about if people actually called in versus the texting.
So we did have 2 people with 2 phones ready in case I was like, my grandma's going to call to donate. I know it. No one called to donate. Okay. But we still liked offering that, and that gave it more of like the telethon feel. But yeah, more people did do the text to donate than we thought, but a majority donated just straight up online to Kindest.
Okay. I wonder if that's just your audience. Like, I'm not sure again of all the organizations on the call, but if you have a donor population that maybe skews on the older side, I could see still keeping that option. It doesn't hurt, right? But that is interesting that most people donated online or via text.
And then another thing too is that we would cut with Gary with the green screen to like he'd say roll the numbers, and then we'd have like a scale of our donations.
Oh, cool.
Throughout. So that was a fun way to keep up and total everything because we were getting donations from multiple sources. We had one person totaling it all and then putting that on the green screen.
Cool. So with a couple minutes left, I want to talk, a question that was asked at the way beginning, was just about social media. You guys for being, I mean, I know you've been around for like, is it 8 or 9 years at this point? Um, but you're totally volunteer run. So can you talk to us a little bit about your guys' social media and some of your strategy? This has nothing to do with, it doesn't have to do with the virtual event, because I think it does in the sense that your large following helps contribute to this success.
Totally.
But if you could talk us through any kind of best practices or things you all do to continue to work to grow your following,
Um,
I think people would love to hear.
yeah, I mean, obviously, our biggest posts are the dogs that are available for adoption. There's multiple posts of those a day. And with adoption so high right now, there's a lot of that kind of stuff going. But then on top of that, I do literally always have Jess in my head saying, what can you do to give to the audience? So we're always just trying to think of like, whatever way possible that we can post something that gives and thanks rather than, because we ask a lot.
Mm-hmm.
We ask a lot. So I try to give a lot to offset that asking a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, I'm trying to think of
But in terms of strategy, like how often are you all posting per week?
um, I try to post, so I run Instagram, which also goes to Facebook. I try to post once a day. However, there's many more posts than that a day because we have someone else that just strictly post dogs that are available. So like yesterday, she posted like 5 dogs that are available. And then obviously, we post about our virtual events once a week. To remind people that those are going to be on Saturday. I have one post a week about our podcasts. I try to do one post a week with like a throwback or like an update on a dog.
Mm-hmm. I love those ones.
Yeah, so just like anything I can that's not
But it's often, and you guys complement it on stories and your feed.
everything on
You're
the
active.
stories. Yes,
I will
and
also say, as someone that's an observer, is you interact with your audience, so you don't just post to post. Like when people comment, you comment back. I have a feeling you're very active in your DM.
I check it just as often as I check my personal one.
So for the people asking, how do you grow this following or how do you get there? I just can also say this as a business owner, you have to give 10 times more than you think you're going to get. So you need to put out value. You need to put out good content. You need to interact the way you want to be interacted with. That goes on email, that goes on social, and it's a big effort, but it works.
Yeah, and they want to see faces too. Like even the few times like my dad or I will post our faces on there, it gets like a huge reaction, and I'm always like, but yeah, that like people want to know who's running.
Yeah.
Organization for sure. And I think that's what makes you unique. Like it's unique that me and my parents and like our misfit team of volunteers are the ones doing all of this. And I think that's why a lot of our audience follows us. And just don't be scared to overpost, because I used to think we overposted, but now we're that's what got us our following.
Come over to the dirt. You've come over.
Yeah. Like if you don't want to see this many dog posts, then don't follow us. So that's why I think all of our followers too are pretty loyal. We put them through a test. Like if they don't want to see all these dog posts, then they're not right for us.
Right. Okay, this was amazing. Everyone, I'm just posting here. This is my Facebook group. I'll repost this interview when we're done. But Mackenzie, if people have questions or people like want to follow up with you individually, what's the best way for them to either get in touch with you or maybe follow the Little Red Dog so they can get an example, since it sounds like you all are going to be doing more of these things?
Yeah, we have something in the works on June 6th. I just got off a meeting for that. It's virtual, but not a telethon, but virtual. I'm the only one that runs DMs on the Little Red Dog. So if you want to reach out to me on there, Instagram is the Little Red Dog. You can also email me if you have any questions. It's Mackenzie at the Little Red Dog, which I'll type because I realize that's a lot. .org. Email me or DM on our Instagram. My biggest advice for this is just go for it. Do you like be true to your organization and what makes that special, because I feel like that's what we did and that's why it was so successful.
Ah, I can't thank you enough for sharing all of this. I mean, you guys made it look really easy, really turnkey, really professional. And you did it on such a short turnaround time. So kudos to you guys. Lots of dogs saved. Happy about that. And yeah, I really appreciate your time. And for everyone tuning in, I hope that this was helpful. As mentioned, if you didn't catch the whole thing, I'm going to post it to the Facebook group. If you're not on my email list, I give a lot of good free content there. And it's not spammy, so you can sign up at outintheboons.me. And otherwise, have a fantastic weekend for all the mamas, soon to be mamas, dog mamas, plant mamas.
Buy
Enjoy
the
your
toolkit.
Sunday.
Buy the toolkit. I'm not kidding when I used most of that information to get this done in a week.
Thank you. I'm not paying her to say that, but thank you.
I genuinely think it's good.
Okay, Mackenzie, this was a blast. Thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of your Friday.